Last week, President Biden publicly split from our ally Poland and scrapped a plan to get airplanes to Ukraine because our administration feared it might, you guessed it, provoke Putin. Predictably, Putin has not pulled his punches as a thank you to President Biden for pulling his punches. American strength is not the provocation. American weakness is. We need to help get air defense systems to Ukraine without wasting another second.
So, look, and the reason I said, look, that was a pretty partisan, on one hand, that was a pretty partisan hit. On the other hand, I've heard plenty of subtle critiques from Democrats saying, you can't let Putin decide the rules of engagement here all the time. And it looks as if we have.
I don't think you should let Putin decide the rules of engagement ever. But giving going to the floor and giving a speech without any regard to whether or not, you could set off World War III, not that McConnell's doing it because everybody knows those are just words, is serious. And he is not the commander-in-chief. He doesn't have the responsibility. You mentioned earlier on the Intelligence Committee, I can't talk about some of the things that we talk about there. We have talked about things about, what would be viewed as escalatory, what would not be viewed as escalatory. What would it mean for Putin to have a false flag around chemical weapons and what that would look like in terms of what the response? So far from having Putin make our decisions for us, we should have resolve. We should make decisions based on what we think are in the best interests of the Ukrainian people and of the United States of America's national security and our allies. And we should not take any tool off the table, no military tool off the table, no diplomatic tool off the table. Around this place now, I'm sure these signs of weaknesses, some of these things are signs of strength too. Being able to engage your allies in a meaningful way to cripple the Russian economy, that's a sign of strength. And there were people a week ago who said it wasn't enough. Everyone becomes an expert here, when something like this happens. And it's like, because somebody read one book on Afghanistan, like the old, that old article in The Onion was about. So I think, I believe we should be pushing as hard as we can push. We shouldn't take anything off the table. And every single one of us that has a position of responsibility here needs to keep an eye on what it would look like to have two superpowers with nuclear weapons engaged in World War III. And that is not an excuse not to act. It's an excuse to act smart. It's an excuse to act with courage, and it's a reason for us to be so inspired by what the Ukrainian people are doing, because I guarantee you this, none of this would be happening if the Ukrainian people weren't doing what they're doing, and it's an amazing thing to see.